All right, let's see. Hey there. My hair is a mess. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? Somebody asked me if they could see my workflow when I'm writing music for television. And so I'm going to just start creating a track and just explain the workflow as I'm going. And it may be interesting, it may not. I'm using Logic Pro, iMac, Yamaha monitors. And I'm not sure how good the music's going to sound. I know that anytime there's music, it tends to get kind of compressed and weird sounding. But so what I'm going to write right now is this is a session that I've opened many times and added to. Each one of these stacks of tracks is a different song. And so this is kind of my quirky, call it comedic rock. And so I've been asked for more of this kind of stuff. So I open it up so that I have all of the, everything from the hand claps to bass, upright bass if I need it. And then acoustic tracks, electric tracks, all that kind of stuff. Drums are in here. I'm going to actually add a new drum track. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click over here on the plus sign, which is add, and I'm going to add a drummer. So this is Logic. And I'm going to, for genre, I'm going to choose rock, I think. I can change all of this later. That's the beauty of MIDI. I can totally change it. So, and again, if you have questions, I'll try to answer them as I go. Let's see. Let's get that. Let's go. Right. Where was I? Here. Okay. Making sure. There we go. Now, now that I have a drummer thing, my tempo, I see, the idea, I've got a little idea. So I need to figure out the tempo. Like I said, it's got to be kind of quirky because it's what they want for this track. Almost. So that's not a bad start, but I wouldn't mind something a little busier. So the cool thing about Drummer, which is the software that comes with Logic, it's totally free, is that you've got all these different presets. You can change the drummer. So if I want to go with a different drummer, I can do that. So I go here, and I got Kyle, Logan, Anders, Max, Jesse, Ian, and they all kind of have different things. So this is Kyle's pop rock, retro rock is Logan, hard rock. Let's see, songwriter. I wonder if I have roots brush. So I can change the song. I can change the style. I can change so many different things. Songwriter. Let's see, pop brush. Roots brush. I think I'll go with roots brush. So I'm going to totally change the sound here. That kind of almost makes more sense. So this is, and then I've got so many options here, as usual with software. And it's one of the best things to do when you're working with the new software is just to kind of click on buttons and see what they do. And don't be afraid of making mistakes. You can always hit undo. But so this one. So this one's called Flatbed, and it's the kick and snare. It's a double time thing. So there's a bunch of those. So if I go to number one, it totally changes the sound. I've got this XY thing that allows me to make it simpler, softer, louder, more complex. So I can go here. It's much softer. But this is pretty up-tempo or kind of fun track. Now, if I don't want hi-hat to be the main thing besides kick and snare, I can go to toms. or I can go to cymbals, and it instantly changes. But I think I like the hi-hat. The pattern is okay. I can change all that later too. So the idea I had was I have to go to that track. Okay, so let me just record a little bit of that, and I'll show you something really cool that you can do. So I'm going to loop that pattern. I'm going to loop. Give some of this, give you more room, and I just drag it out and loop it. Now I've got each one of those is 8 bars, so now I've got let's see, 40 bars. Should be plenty to kind of get an idea down. Usually what I'll do is I'll go to the very first bar, look at the time, 27 minutes and 16 seconds. I want the song to be about 2 minutes long, no longer than that, 28:50. So I can go maybe one more 8-bar thing, and now I'm going to have almost 2 minutes, and that's plenty. But what I might do, in fact, I will do, I'm going to do this. I'm going to drag that out 8, and I'm going to copy it. I'm going to leave a bar empty in the middle. A lot of times for TV, they like to have an edit point. So I'll do a stop in the middle. It'll either be a short or a long, not sure. Okay, hopefully you can hear me. Let me just try something here, see what this sounds like. So I like the first half of that, obviously. And what I did was I broke down so that maybe some other instrument can kind of take the melody. I maybe do organ or piano. I could do bass, could be more busy there. But I didn't really like what I did there. So, but I did like the first part of that. So I did a modulation up a minor third, which is always a common thing to do. So here's the end of that phrase. That's perfect. When you do something, it makes it really easy to do a crossfade in there because it's just noise. It's not like you're holding out. Really hard to crossfade on a held note, like punching in the middle of a note, because the levels are going to be different. Okay, so I'm going to come in there. I'm going to just go ahead and do a simplified version of that, I think. And then I've got 8 bars before I have to do like an end of some kind. Okay, so I'm just going to work on this section of it, and I'll start layering things in, and you can kind of get an idea of how I create music for television. So, and this will probably be on like Discovery Channel on one of the shows I work for that. Okay, so let's see what we got. All right, so one thing I can do, so you can hear, I kind of know where I'm at, but you don't. So I'm going to do a punch in like this, and then so this is kind of a punch in and punch out thing. It's like a little red thing that goes underneath the. It'll punch it right there. So I'll hear what I did before, right to what I'm going to do now. All right. You know what? I don't like what I did there. So I'm going to go back sooner to when I came back to the key of G, because I forgot I didn't do the exact thing I did before, which I like to do. I like to have kind of, this is like AABA. G 2 times, and then B flat 1 time, and then back to 2 times. Oh, okay. That is Logic. It's Logic, and it's only $199 at Apple. So if you have a Mac, it's an insane program. Used to be $1,000 or $500. I think I remember getting it for half price for $500. So I think it was $1,000 when it first came out. And Apple bought the company and started selling it. So pretty much anyone can afford that and kind of get started. And it's loaded with, I mean, I'm probably going to use some stuff that didn't come with Logic, but for the most part, everything the drummer is totally Logic. So yeah, it looks like Pro Tools. I got one of the later updates was kind of the darker mode, which I didn't like at first. Now I'm kind of used to it. It kind of looks like GarageBand a little bit, which I didn't like, but now I'm so used to it, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so here I'm going to come back in. And I'm going to come just right on. Okay, so that's kind of the whole phrase. You saw that I did it simpler for that third time, for the third group of 8 bars. So now I've got 24 bars of music, and that last chord was a little out of tune, but it might be kind of fun. So I just spread this out. You just grab this comp track, and you can see it automatically crossfade. Well, you have to set that. That's in the preferences, but I set it to 20 milliseconds. So there's really not going to be much there, but I'm going to slide it as much to the start of the punch in as possible. And here's what it sounds like. You won't even hear the punch in. Okay, so flatten and merge, moving on. Okay, I'm going to show you a little trick. One thing I do, again, this is fun. This is supposed to be fun. Get rid of that punch in thing. Get rid of this. I'm going to take like, oh, where'd the drums go? I accidentally deleted the drums. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to grab the second one here of the group, and I'm going to move it down to this track. Now, this track is basically the same guitar, except I don't know if you can see. Look at this EQ, okay? All right, so that is basically an EQ setting that's in there. It's just called phone filter notch. You can do it yourself, basically, but it's just supposed to sound like a nasty little. So that's just funny, right? Go to phone filter, and so you got this groove here. Actually like that the drum stopped there. Normally I would hit a downbeat on that, but I think I'll let that guitar go there. But I may replay that last note. Yeah, you know what? The drums they cut off early. I like that. I'm going to do that. I'm not going to hit that last chord. So I'm going to punch in, get that last bit, and not hit a chord. All right? Here we go. And I feel like it's a little out of tune. Okay, way out of tune. You know what? That's something that shows up later when you start talking. Yeah, don't want that. Do it again. One more time. E, 4. Just let it ring. Okay, that'll do. Don't need to worry about the crossfade so much there because it's a gap. All right, so far we've just got guitar and drums that are temporary drums. I'm going to redo the drums later. And so the drum again. I'm using Drummer, which comes with Logic, and right now I'm copying these tracks. I want the drums to stop right here, which I thought was cool. And that's cool. That does a little fill leading into that. You hear that? That's fun. That's fun. Fills are fun. Okay, so if I go back to drummer, it's pretty loud and complex. I can make that middle. I can take that middle 8 and just turn the fills all the way down so it doesn't do fills, and I can change the hi-hat feel. So in that middle 8, the drums change a little bit. The other thing that's really, really crazy about drummer is you've got, the different patterns, right? You can also click on this little button that says follow, and then you just choose a track. Of all the tracks you have, you can choose whatever track you want the drummer to follow. So I've got, what is it, main EG. So that's the only thing I've got recorded right now. Now I've set it to follow the guitar I just recorded. So now it's actually the kick and snare pattern are going to kind of line up with what I did. That's actually really cool. It's a much better groove. Oh, that's much better. Okay, so I'm going to do that with this one too. Follow, and it automatic. Now that I've set it that way, although I do like this fill here. Hopefully, the fill stick. Okay, cool. All right, so that's really cool. Now, I could record bass. Generally, that would be like the next thing to do, or other guitars. So I don't know if I want to do. Let's see. I think. Do I want to play real bass, or do I want to put an upright bass in there? Do I have real bass in here? Here's upright. Might do downbeats. I'm not sure. It's a little bit more of although he's using brushes, so upright bass might sound good. I may just do that, but I may play it with real bass, and then I have options. Okay, so now turn this. Okay. Now that last note didn't come out very good, but check this out. I'm going to solo. I just played upright using the keyboard. I'm going to solo it so you can hear what I did. But first I want to quantize it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up in MIDI scroll mode, select all, and then hit Q, and that just quantizes everything. 1, 2, 3. So, we want. Yeah, my fingers weren't fast enough. Oh, it's set to triplet. Okay, we don't want triplet. That's why it sounded weird. Okay, so I got to set the quantize to 16th notes. Right there. Now it's moving everything right. Okay, now I want this note to be a lot louder. So here's what the bass sounds like. That's cool. I can also see the great thing about MIDI files. I can take that if I want to. I can drag that to like a Wurlitzer. So now if I doubled it on the Wurlitzer piano, again, because I'm trying to make a quirky track, I could also put it on marimba, for example, which is that's really low. That's funny sound. Go up and on a couple. Crazy, right? So, although I don't think I need that, I'll mute that, but I got it there just in case. Okay. Okay, shake it up. Does the same thing, so I just copy and paste. And the whole thing goes up. The whole thing goes up a minor third, so I am going to just copy and paste that upright bass, and then I'll highlight it, drag it up a minor third. There it is. But the end is different. Remember? I go. get rid of this. And I went like that. So those were eighth notes. Let that ring out. And here it is. Make those short. Bum, bum, bum. Now it's shorter. Check this out. I'm going to solo it so you can hear that. Cool, right? All right. Now, if I wanted to, I could play it on a different bass. Like this is a different bass. More of a real bass sound. For now, I'm going to use the upright because this is supposed to be a funny track. That's what they want. All right. And then go back to the original key. Back to G. See, now here's where, you know, I'm getting serious when I put down the guitar. Here's where I thin out the melody or the lead guitar part so that something else could take over. So this is someplace where maybe the bass could do something. I don't know if I want to do the, I don't think I want to. You know, I can try to follow some. I want that. I have to do that with my right hand. Yeah, I don't like that. Okay, but that's not really filling it in much. That's actually doing the opposite. It's just playing along with the guitar. So I'm not digging it, but let me just see. Da, 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 da. So I'm just putting that melody in there. So it's there now. Okay, I'm going to make these shorter. Da, 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 da. It's a little bit more staccato. Okay, so let me do something like you can just experiment. That's the beauty of this. Okay, so the bass, which I haven't quantized yet, now I'm going to quantize. Okay. So bass is just going bum, 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 kind of like what the guitar is doing. So maybe what I'll do is I'll take those 3 bars and I'll move them over 2 beats so they answer what the guitar is doing. Does that make sense? Okay, so now let's see. Hopefully you can hear this. I don't know if you can hear it. Yes, it's Logic Pro. Thanks, Tom. Maybe. I could also do boom. No. Yeah, maybe do a little bit of pitch change there. So go to B flat on the middle note. Not bad, but I want to hear like a note right before some of these. Maybe do. Maybe 2 for this one. You know what? I could actually move that little melodic idea over. So that's kind of cool. Now the drums are doing, or the bass is echoing. Okay, now the question is, the next section, radio. See, it's funny. Okay, so let me just try copying that bass line we just created. I say we, I mean I. And let's see what it sounds like. But I'm going to have to put the bass line back where it was because I want that phrase to end there. The drums stop with a really fun fill. It's a great fill. The drummer just automatically put in. I didn't do that. The only thing I did was I have the fills up. So it's instead of being at 0, it's like at about 11 o'clock. Okay. If you put it all the way up, it'll be like the drummer will be insane. So you don't want that. Insane drummers, not good. All right. So let's see what this sounds like. All right, let's do the whole thing. Let's do the whole thing. I think it's not even a minute. This is so far. Okay, so we've got the drummer, we've got upright bass, MIDI upright bass, and then the main guitar, and that's all we've got so far. Yeah, so I could maybe double that bass on the organ. Let's see. Let's get rid of some of this. There we go. Yeah, that's cool. And then I can extend that out longer than so it's 2 bars. And one thing, so what with the organ sound, the pedal, which is on the floor, that's a weird sounding organ. Let's change organs. What's this one sound like? Yeah, I like that one better. So I'm going to move to this organ. The pedal controls the speed of the Leslie. So like if I do, it's barely moving. And I put the pedal down, it slowly speeds up. So a lot of times what you want to do is you want to have the pedal on at the when you hit a chord, and then it'll take your foot off. So it's going faster, then it slows down. Does that make sense? Okay. So, I'm a toddler in college class here, but watching you work is awesome. Well, thank you. That's awesome. I love doing this. I mean, so what I'm doing is I'm writing kind of a recap. I'm writing just a quick track for a TV show. I write for TV a lot. And so somebody asked me if they could see my workflow, how I work. And so this is just me doing my job. And just the request was for some fun. Well, actually I had another request and I wasn't going to do that one because it was for romantic music, romantic, like walking hand in hand kind of stuff. And you don't want to watch me make that kind of stuff. That's like not fun. But this is a little bit more fun. Quirky country rock kind of is fun. So I'm going to do some more guitars here in a second. But I want to program in the. Oh, weird. Modulate. All right, let's see what key am I in. Well, it should be right. What did it sound out of? Okay. It's just a little harsh. I'm going to mellow it out. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in record. Do it again. Undo. I want to make this last note really long. Okay. Now I'm going to pedal down and get the Leslie going. Now. And then the song kicks back in, but we're not going to work on the second half. Okay, let me put some more electric on this. One thing that's nice is that Logic is starting to auto-save now, which is not something it used to do. One thing I can do is, you can't have enough of this. Let's see, is this going to be nasty? You can hear the buzz. Let me tune. I should have tuned before. Okay, so Option T opens up a tuner for that track. Now, one of the things I want to do is I want to kind of layer stuff. So when the song starts, it can be pretty simple. I could even just have the guitar. I could get rid of the drums and the bass. So it could start with just the guitar. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to drag the drummer track. So I'm going to click on this 8-bar drummer track right here, and I'm going to drag it, take away 2 bars of it. But then I'm going to drag it. So you can see this. I'm going to make this bigger. Okay. I'm going to drag it maybe 1 beat further to the left. And what it'll do is it'll create a drum fill, which is freaking brilliant. It's just amazing. So now I've got a drum fill. If I go maybe a little further, like a quarter note and a 16th, maybe? Same fill. Okay. So I'm going to leave that. That's our fill. And I'm going to go ahead and take out the bass right here. So it's going to start out with guitar. This way we have a little bit of a layering thing. It's going to be guitar for 2 bars, and then drums come in with a fill, and then the bass comes in. And that, again, it's an upright bass, MIDI bass kind of thing. And then I'm going to wait until we go to the key change, and I'm going to add some slide. I call this nasal slide because I've got kind of a, oh, maybe not. It's just kind of a thing. It's fine. I probably took off the radio filter. Okay, and I got to tune it. I mean, if you're playing slide, you really have to tune. I mean, you're constantly tuning when you're playing slide. So we're in G, but where I'm going to come in is I'm going to come in where it modulates to B flat. Oh, maybe here. Fun. That was pretty fun. What are some of the shows you've worked on? A lot. I have a lot of music on Street Outlaws, Fast and Loud, Let's Make a Deal, things like that. Just a lot of TV, a lot of cable stuff. Okay, you can look at, if you just Google me, go to IMDb and put my name in, you'll see a list of stuff that I've worked on. I try to keep it up to date. All right, so okay, that was cool. I like this in the breakdown section. I thought that was kind of cool. Short. Kind of fizzled there a little bit. And then I didn't get the lick. Kind of didn't nail it. Not easy on slide. So I don't necessarily need to do that lick, but I'm going to punch in here and do the short. Way out there. That's kind of fun. A little bit of fall off there. Now, my writing partner, basically what he'll do is he'll mix all this, and he'll do all of them, and he'll make it sound better than I could mix. So I kind of can, a lot of times I can record more than I need, and then he'll edit me. So it's like me talking. I talk too much, so then you guys just edit me, okay? Let's see. Yeah, so you got some of the shows there. Like I said, just go to IMDb and look me up, and you can see a bunch of shows. And watch them. Watch them. keep those shows on the air. Let's see. All right, what else? What else do we want to put in here? So far we've got the main electric, a little bit of the radio thing. Nasal slide is what I call it, but I don't need to call it that because I don't think that EQ is set that way. I got a little bit of organ in there, not a whole lot. I don't know if it really calls for marimba, but I could put a little funky Wurlitzer in there. It's always fun. So I'm putting down the telly. And then I could even do like, in fact, let's see, the slide came in here. So maybe at the key change, I'll bring in a little bit of Wurlitzer and I'll just do like eighth notes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to avoid, this is a great tip, I'm going to avoid the third. The third, it's like if I go major, it just doesn't sound right. If I go minor, it doesn't sound right. So what I'm hitting here over the B flat chord, when I slide up to B flat, and then back down to G, but for both chords, I'm going to hit the fifth, the seventh, and the root. That's a really, like, you know, it can be used in lots of contexts, and it doesn't imply a major or minor tonality. So that comes in real handy. So let's see what that sounds like. How's our level? Oh, okay. All right. Pretty good. Now that I'm going to have to double, but I could do that. So let me, you see what I did there? I kind of put some 16th notes in there. I thought eighth notes might be too busy. I'll minimize it. Oops. Okay, so there, and now so I'm going to open that up. I'm going to quantize it. I'm just going to go ahead and keep it in not human. Here I did the the chromatic thing. And I can at least add fifths to that. Yeah, I don't know if I want the seventh. Let me put the seventh in there, see what that sounds like. So like I said, fifth, root seventh. I'm going to solo it. Let's solo. Okay, that's not bad. Let's hear it with the track. Yeah, that's great. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to eighth notes. I hope this is interesting. I hope it's not boring. You remember, you ever go to work with your dad? That's why I titled this, Take Your Subscriber to Work Day. I loved going to work with my dad. That was like the funnest day. All right. My dad was a furniture salesman, so it wasn't like we were just going to a bunch of furniture stores, but we'd always eat out and stay at a hotel or something on the road. All right, here we go, back to G. Now, that's a different kind of funny. All right, so that's more cartoon funny. I might do that. So basically what I'm doing there is I'm playing D, F, G for the G chord. I'm not playing a third because I don't want it to sound happy or sad. I just want it to sound kind of bluesy. And then on the seventh and the fifth, if I go down a half step, I get C sharp and E. That might be kind of fun. That'll be, let me try it and see what it sounds like. That's great. That's really cool, actually. I really like that. So, oh, wait a minute. What did I do? 16th. Did I do triplets? What did I do? Oh, my timing was off. That's why. Okay, let me just. I'm going to drag these closer to the 16th because what it did when it quantized, it put it on the quarter note, and it's probably because my timing was pretty bad. Okay, so let's see what happens if I do this. Okay, now it looks fine. Sorry. Getting you into the minutia. Okay, so I'm going to solo this. Check this out. Because you might not have been able to hear that, but I'm going to S solos the track. Woo! I'm going to put funky, clean guitar in there. So I grabbed my $99 Squire because I'm going to put down a little wah, I think. I may have to create a new track. I just want a basic, super basic, clean guitar track. Saving, always save. Turn on, hit S again to unsolo. Oh, you know what? I need to finish this though. I think I need more here. I need to keep this. Once you bring in an instrument, it's always good to kind of keep it going. It's not mandatory, but do they request any limits or, sorry, I can't read the time frames, or do they ask for certain patterns? Oh, for TV stuff. You know, when you're writing library music, your music, a lot of times what they do is they've got all these tracks of videos, you know, all these like 5 different camera angles or whatever, and then they drop music in and they'll edit those camera angles to the music. So sometimes I do get requests for specific lengths. The other day I got asked to do a bunch of stings, which are just like dum boom. And sometimes, you know, maybe I'll do that on this track is I'll add a couple stings at the end of the track that are in the style with the drums and with all the instrumentation, and it's only like 5 seconds long. Hey, but 5 seconds on TV is real money. So, but as far as generally, no, I like to try to make them about 2 minutes long. I like them to have kind of an A and a B section. I like there to be a break in there. Another thing that editors like a lot is hits. You know, time you could do something fun, the bump, bump, that kind of thing is fun. You know, when I get further in this process, I might add some cymbal crashes in some kind of random places. And then my friend that's going to do the mixes and everything, he'll use them or not use them, but it always is nice to have that option. So, all right, let me finish with the Rhodes here for this, or the Wurlitzer. Yeah, because this is the broken down section a little bit. I'm trying to highlight that telephone electric guitar, but I could double that. Let me quantize what I just did. I just did this, quantize. Stylistically, yeah, request every week or so I get different requests for more of this or more of that. A lot of times it just ends up replacing stuff I've already written. But once it's in a show, it's in a show, and every time that show airs, it generates some revenue. See. I don't want to roll up. The slides are not a keyboard. That's fun. Now, isn't that fun? Is this fun at all? Are you guys enjoying this? I don't know. I'm sorry. All right. I think that maybe this should be down an octave. It makes for a big impact there. And there's a nice gap here, so they can cut out of it if they want. And you notice there's a drum fill right coming into that. You hear that? I can get rid of that. I don't necessarily need that. That way, they've got even longer to use this. Whatever happens next, happens next. Okay, we don't know that. All right, what did I say I was going to add? A funky guitar. Oh, clean. I can do tremolo. Oh, okay, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do something in a second, but I think it'll work, but we'll see. I'm just going to create a new track. So I'm hitting the plus sign, audio input 2, which is my guitar. And then I'm going to go over here to my settings, and I've got a million saved settings here. Just going to go with a basic clean, because what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do some wah guitar on a funky, nasty sounding Strat. It's actually not that basic. It's got a lot of reverb. So I'm going to get rid. The Valhalla reverbs are great. $50 and you get a great plugin. They have like 4 different reverbs, I think, and a new delay thing that I got that's just amazing. But I'm going to go ahead and take this one off and put the plate one on. So I'm going to go to Valhalla plate stereo, and I'm going to go with a really small one. Something like that, a little bit less. got a tune. For sure, this one needs tune. I just used this one in my last video, the Jam Along with Tom video. All right, hey, it's actually two. Okay, then I got my wah down here on the floor. Let's hit that on. Nothing's funnier than wah, man. So let's see what happens. It's a little hot. I'm going to bring it back a little bit. See, I could double some of that. But I love this guitar. It's just so nasty sounding. Or I could do something like that too. That works. Let me duplicate this track. Let me duplicate this track and see what a wah would sound like. Okay, so I'm gonna just hit it's the double plus sign over here, and then what that does is just duplicate that exact track. So I'm gonna mute what I just did, and I'm going to do this time. I'm gonna use wah on this. Still using. Wait, sorry, I'm trying to read this. BR upgrade. Well, if you have a Mac, I would totally recommend, as far as programming for DAW, DAW, Digital Audio Workstation is what DAW stands for, DAW. If you are using Macs, then Logic is great because it comes with so much. It's only $199, so it's pretty darn cheap, worth every penny. Okay, let's see what wah. I don't even have to hit a note. I can just go. It's just going to sound great. In my humble opinion. Okay, now that's really kind of fun. I mean, I like that. It's fun. What I can do is I can turn it down because it's a little hot. Use the other guitar track that I did just a second ago. Use them both, but this time I'm going to pan them left and right. I'm going to go like 9 o'clock on one and 3 o'clock on the other. So now you won't be able to hear the stereo, unfortunately. And I wish I could upload this track later, but technically it's going to belong to Discovery when I'm done with it, so I can't do that. All right, let's just listen to that. Not this production. Not a whole lot left to do on this track. I feel like that's a pretty full track. A lot of stuff going on. What I could do, though, is do some hand claps. Oh. No, I definitely think I like these hand claps. It's loud. So, I don't know where to put them, though. Let's see. Should I bring them in here? Maybe once the organ comes in. No hand claps. And I've got what I'm using for hand claps is battery. And I just loaded nothing but all their ham and clap samples. So I have them all in here. Every one of these is a different hand clap. And what, so, I don't like just one. I'll just usually, I'll grab like 4 or 5 cluster of them on the piano. Okay. And that's, and usually when I do hand claps, I don't quantize. That way it sounds a little bit more human, a little bit more real. Okay. More cowbell. You know what? Cowbell might not be a bad thing. Let's see. You're right. Let's add some cowbell. Okay. Who was that? TA. Sling. Is that Slingshot? It looks like Slingshot. All right. So I can put cowbell. Got to be a cowbell around here. Maybe not on this program. Here? No. There we go. It's kind of an anemic cowbell, though. Let me see if I can get a better cowbell. But let's add some cowbell. You're right. I actually think the cowbell would work in the breakdown. So I'm going to bring the cowbell into the breakdown. Oh, that's interesting. Did a little thing there. I want that. All right. So breakdown, quantize, is where the main guitar just kind of, I do a little more sparse so other instruments can kind of fill it in. So I get the cowbell out there, right? We don't want the cowbell there. So I'll take out those last 4 cowbells, and that's it. We got cowbell. All right. So I think we got a complete track here. I think that's enough. Now keep in mind I've only done half of the track because that's about 50 seconds. Let me time it. Let's see. From there to there. Let's see. Oh, it starts there. So 27:16 to 28:15, yeah, exactly a minute. So yeah, we're golden. So if I just duplicate this, I'm not going to copy and paste this, but I am going to use elements of it and do variation on it. Maybe, I don't know what, maybe go to double time on the drums or something for a bit and then come back to this. This will be a musical theme that I will revisit here probably in the last 8 bars or 16 bars of the second half. But they were, editors always like to have options in a song, but you also can't put, if you put too many options in a song, they're not likely to hear them all. You'll do a lot of work for nothing. These are not mixed, so I can just. Yeah, that was one I did last year. There's banjo on that one. That'd be funny. These are old ones. It'd be funny if I clicked on one and it sounds exactly like what I just did. I'll be like, dang it, I just did that. Let's see. Yeah, just funny. So this one's a little more up tempo. Here, the click. I'm going to move the space. I'm going to double the space with a sample bass, so it's a little bit bassier. right? Yeah, well, I hope I did the music for it. It's a fun thing to do. It's kind of hard to get into. It's one of those things where you have to know somebody. So, as long as you're creating music they can use, they'll keep talking, calling you up for it. But yeah, it's a fun thing to do. But you don't get paid when you create it. You get paid on the back end when the shows air. I've talked about this in my on my not my channel, but my playlist. The playlist on my channel is called The Business of Making Music. I talk about TV and film music. So check that out if you're interested in doing it. I give you some good information there. And you can do this from anywhere in the world. I live in LA, and this is the people I work with, and most of my clients are in LA, but I work for people in London and Paris, New York, things like that, even Russia. But for the most part, most of my clients are here, and it's nice to be here because then if you want to go to lunch or coffee or something, you do that and you kind of stay in their face. Let's see, are there any other questions? Not a lot of other questions. Come on, ask some questions. There's only 8 of you on there, so it's not like you're going to have to wait in line to get your question answered. But I will, and I apologize for just doing this on the fly. I'm not exactly sure the best way to promote one of these things. I think if I schedule it, then it'll send you notifications that I'm going to be doing it. But I'll keep this up there so you can re-watch this. And I like the laptop. I think it looks really good as far as you can kind of get a view of all this, and you can see, my Logic flow and all that. So it's kind of, I think the camera on this thing is not too bad. So let's see. And then what else was I? Yeah, so I think that's enough on that track. So basically now what I want to do, and I'm not done yet, but I'm going to have to make sure, I like to make sure all the tracks start at the first bar. So I create little dead bars here that do nothing. And then, let's see. Oh, okay, I'm going to have to create a drum track. Okay, this is really, really cool. I'll show you here too. So that drummer program in Logic, if I create another track, okay, this time I'm going to create a software track, not a drummer track. Okay, the drummer, it's Austin, but he's playing a Blue Ridge drum kit. So what I want to do is I want to go to drum kits, click on Blue Ridge, and it'll load the Blue Ridge drum kit. Now, I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to try to blow it up so you can see this really well. Okay. All right. So there's that. Okay. So here's the drummer track. You can even see that it's, oh, there we go. You can even see that it's somewhat representational, right? So like if I were to solo this, I'll solo this and click on it. Basic kick is down here, hi-hat's up here. Now that's because I've made the window pretty big. Okay, so here's what's really cool. Okay, you're on my lap now. Y'all are on my lap. This is really weird. Okay, so I'm going to highlight all this, and I'm going to option and drag. And basically now what it just did was it just turned all of that into MIDI data. So now I'm going to mute this, solo this one, and this is just it's the exact same thing. But now it's in the MIDI instead of in the drummer software. But the cool thing about that is like here, I can now look at the MIDI, and if I want, say, another snare hit here, let's see, or a tom, say I want a tom on this snare hit, like right there. Here it is right here. Yeah, you really couldn't hear it. Let me do a tom fill like this. I'll delete it, but okay. So here it is. Actually, that might work with the track. Wait, but we need it where though? Where's the lick? Okay, I'm gonna get rid of the solo. Oh, it's gonna be further over. So let's get to that point, and I'm going to go back to this, and I'm gonna make this drum fill do the da 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 da, right? So here we go. I'm gonna put it's right here on the downbeat. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Oh, weird. What did it do? Let's undo that. Oh, because I only hide it. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to just drag this over. Okay, so here we come. Now again, it did a weird thing where this well, it works, but I'm going to merge all this eventually. So I'll create a dummy track. But anyway, that's one of the cool things about Drummer. So now it's a MIDI file, and now I can edit it there where you can't edit the drummer tracks. Okay, so I got some questions here. Apologize. No, I'm not apologizing. Oh, sorry. Did I apologize? Oh, wait. I apologized again for apologizing. My eyes are so bad. I can't read that little writing over there. I need to make, I'll talk to Google about making this bigger. Think they could do that? Anyway, day in the life. Thanks for coming to work with me, kids. Now let's go get some lunch. I'm hungry. It's noon. Also, that's the hard part about doing these is like, okay, it's 3 o'clock in New York, it's 8 o'clock in London, and what time is it in, it's like 4 in the morning in Australia. So I get complaints like, oh, I missed you because I was sleeping. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great day and have fun. Thanks for watching, and I'll do this again. But now that I've done this, you can watch this over and over again. I'll post it. Okay, you can watch it over again and learn something. If you feel like there was something to be learned, you could watch from the beginning. Okay, take care. Bye.